you're looking to dive into topics on how to live a happier, healthier, more fit, and long lifespan, then you've come to the right podcast. Living the Dream with me, Coach Damian Evans. Together, we will explore the topics on all things health, fitness, and wellness. Together, we will be lifelong learners on this journey to living the ultimate dream. What up, Dream Team? Coach D here, coming at you from beautiful sunny San Diego. And in today's episode, I am super excited because we are welcoming a new co-host to the Living the Dream podcast. So when I first started this podcast, I had the vision of learning something new every single day and then sharing what I learned to the Living the Dream team. And it's gone really well over the past 3 years. But I think that we can take this to another level. This new co-host, she's been my best friend for 10 years. She's my partner in crime. She's been the manager of our Living the Dream podcast Instagram. She's amazing at social media. And I think she has a lot to offer on the podcast. So I'd like to welcome my best friend, Jamie Martinez. Hi, Jamie.
What's up, guys? Super excited to be here.
So, Jamie, let's first start by introducing where you're from, what you've done to get into the health and fitness space, and just what we're going to be doing as far as your role here on the Living the Dream podcast.
Yeah, so I am originally from San Jose, Bay Area, and I was an athlete my entire life. I was a swimmer, and then I had the opportunity to go to Arizona State, go Devils, for a swimming scholarship. So I was always an athlete, always in the fitness realm, but definitely did not have a nutrition background, nor did my family. So seeing the people in my life that was very close to me go through these illnesses that I think are preventable through the food that we consume kind of led me down more of a nutrition path. But I have been in the fitness realm working on the operations side and as a coach for the last 10 years. So now I also recently got my nutrition certification back at the beginning of this year. So I've been taking clients since January, which is super exciting to kind of put it all together and see the big picture from multiple angles. So I'm excited to be here and share the things that I learned from my clients and share my own fitness journey myself. After being an athlete, I kind of fell off the wagon, didn't know what I was doing. I gained a bunch of weight. And so I got myself back to a place where I'm feeling good through my nutrition and movement and just learning more about that on my own journey as well.
Yeah. And I think that you're going to have a lot to offer the listeners of the Living the Dream podcast because you came into the fitness and health space at such a different way than myself. Like I went through college and I got my bachelor's degree and then I went through these certifications and everything. And you got into it from the side of like you were an athlete and then you participated in group fitness as a staff member and you were always around like the backside of things. And then you just realized that this is your passion and you decided to take it under your own power to be able to go and get your certification and do all this stuff on top of everything you're doing. So, I mean, that's a hard thing to do. And I think that a lot of times I'll get stuck in the weeds when it comes to the science behind this or that. And you'll be able to reel me back in and kind of ask maybe what the layman is thinking. And I'm really excited about that. So what we're going to do here, Jamie and team, is we'll start each episode with a little bit of our personal lives, just one struggle that we've been experiencing over the past week and one win that we've had. I'll go first. So my win for the week is I actually just got back from a trip to Bend, Oregon. If you've never been to Bend, Oregon, man, this place is beautiful. I got invited by Andrew Schultz, one of my really good friends. He is a one-on-one health coach, spiritual coach, and he put together this really cool event that was for leaders in the community. He invited a bunch of men who are trying to do well, just really lifelong learner and growth-minded guys to get together. And I really enjoyed it. It was an opportunity for us to kind of just talk about the things that are lacking in our lives. We have a lot of times where I call myself, I have a lone wolf syndrome. And I feel like sometimes I kind of get tunnel visioned into what I'm doing personally and I don't reach out for help. And this was a great opportunity to kind of pick other people's brains and open up that relationship and kind of help each other, which was sweet. However, you know that anytime you take a break, I went away for about 4 days and a lot of the stuff that I needed to get done got put on the back burner. So one of my struggles was that coming back from that, I was a little bit concerned if I would be able to catch up or not. And I thought that, a win. I did a really good job at go ahead and getting all caught up. I've been leading a group called the Accountability Club, and it was a little bit challenging for me to be able to stay up to date with everything that everyone was doing. And I felt proud of myself for being able to kind of get back in the swing of things when it came to that. And I just wanted to shout out Andrew. He put on a great event. If you're a guy looking for growth, relationships, being able to grow as a leader in the community, check out the Brotherhood in Ben. Check out Andrew Schultz. His podcast is called Positive Impact. And then another struggle this week for both of us kind of is we've had family in town, and everyone knows that when you're hosting, you kind of have to put everything else to the side, and you really have to be able to enjoy being able to spend time with your loved ones. It's kind of tough because in health and fitness, we have many buckets of health. And I'm going to give myself the advice that I give a lot of others is when you're hosting people, fitness and nutrition are 2 buckets of health. And, there are many others. They're big ones when it comes to your health, but you also have to think about your emotional health, your spiritual health, and your social health. So when people are visiting, being able to kind of put the fitness and the nutrition on the back burner as far as maybe you might not be able to eat the foods that you normally eat. You might not be able to stay to your meal plan. Maybe the physical activity, you won't have time to go work out, but you can still plan in these places that you can go to eat healthier. You can plan in something physical activity like taking your family members for hikes, but just realize that you're trying to fill other buckets of health when you're hosting. That's been a challenge for me. Yeah, how did you feel about that, Jamie, when we had your sister here, we had my cousin here, and it was back to back, and then I went away for the trip to Bend, so it kind of just threw our whole routine off, but I feel like we handled it pretty well, and we were able to get right back into the swing of things once they left, and we enjoyed every minute when they were here.
Yeah, it was definitely a busy month of April. I started the month off with a girls' trip. I went to Alaska. That was right before we had our visitors. So yes, April was crazy. It was just back to back doing stuff. And my gut, I'm sure your gut as well, wasn't super happy with us. So I would say that was my win from this last week. Just getting back in the kitchen and eating at home again. It was a lot of eating out, and just my stomach was not my biggest friend. So it's nice to be back on track, eating good whole foods at home. So I'd say that was my win, just getting back into my routine. I hit my 3 workouts last week. That was my goal. When I probably worked out maybe a total of 7 times, I feel like, out of the entire month of April, which is very unlike me. So just getting back on track and feeling good again. So huge win there. And I would say my challenge, my opportunity from the last week is finding a time within every day to do something small for myself. For example, we have our Juve, our red light therapy, and I try to do that every single day, but I definitely did not find time to do that. So just getting back to planning out my day and scheduling that in, because I think it is super important, and I want to continue to give to myself so I can give to others.
Yeah, and you're giving yourself the opportunity to find balance, right? You're such a hard worker, and you've put most of your energy and time into what we're doing right now with all the coaching and running a studio and your clients and all that stuff, but being able to have a little bit of time throughout your day, at least once, to just do one thing that's nice for yourself, one thing that you enjoy, one thing that's for your self-care, that kind of thing. You should be pretty proud of yourself for that. When I think that it would be very valuable to share with people, because I get this question all the time, is like, when I'm not able to work out like I normally do, I don't feel well. How do I talk to myself, and how do I tell myself that it's not the end of the world when I don't have a workout and I'm going to get right back on it? How do you kind of go about that when it comes to your self-talk, when it comes to like what you want to do to be able to stay on track after not working out for a while?
Yeah, that's a great question, because I think your mindset and your headspace is huge in this. And I just told myself, this is just for this period of time, right? I know that we weren't going to have visitors forever. I knew that I wasn't going to be on this trip forever. It's just a small, brief moment of time where, yes, I maybe fell off the wagon a little bit, but I do always try to spin that in a positive way where I'm like, maybe this is what my body needs, because I am very consistent with my workouts. I am very consistent with eating healthy foods. So sometimes it is nice to give your body a little break, right? Like, I didn't see any major changes happen during the month of April when I wasn't working out and not eating my best, because I think I put in the work on the back end, and I can pick up right where I left off once things settle down. So just kind of maybe shifting your mindset and thinking of it as a little gift to your body. We're constantly stressed out, all these things in our life, and working out is another stressor on the body. Sometimes we do need a little rest, and it could actually work in our favor on the back end, because then I do tend to come back feeling a little bit stronger and re-energized and more motivated to get back into it. So I guess just not beating yourself up about it and realizing it's okay. Just like eating good for 1 week isn't going to get you to your goals, but eating bad for 1 week also is not going to just completely derail all the work that you've put in.
Such a great mindset. Thanks for sharing that. And for those people that aren't as consistent as Jamie is, and you've fallen off for a period of time, the best thing to do is just to start small, start slow, figure out one thing. What's the one thing that you could do easily that could get you some wins early? Once you get that win, once you become used to that, making it a habit, then you just stack another thing on top of it, and eventually, little by little, a little becomes a lot. So it's a very common thing, even for people that are consistent. So if that's something that you've been struggling with, just today is the best day to start a new streak. So thanks for sharing your struggle and your win, Jamie. Appreciate that. Next, I'd like to share some questions, some common questions that we get. And Jamie has a few of them lined up here. She's going to ask the questions, and then I'll do my best to answer, and we can kind of go back and forth at what we think about how we would tell this person how to overcome whatever challenge they have or whatever question they may have. We'll be able to talk about what we think the best situation would be. So, Jamie, let's go into that first question that you have.
All right. So question number 1. I'm struggling to lose weight. I have been really dialed in throughout the weekdays, and then the weekends come and there's always something going on. Always a Sunday Funday type event. How do I not let the weekends derail my week of hard work?
And I could just see most of us nodding our heads in agreement. This is something that is so common, right? We're so dialed in Monday through Thursday. We have our meals dialed in, really good quality food. We're working out once a day. We get that 1 hour workout in. And then Friday night comes and we have our friends that invite us over. Saturday, we just roll into the next get together. We have maybe kids' birthday parties or friends' celebrations. And then Sunday Funday hits and we have the opportunity to sit and have bottomless mimosas with brunch and catch up with our loved ones. And then we get back to Monday and we feel like we've lost everything. We feel like all the work that we did throughout that week is just derailed. And now we start all over and we just do it again on that hamster wheel. But we don't have to. That's not something that we have to do. I feel like a lot of people, they go 100 and 0 when it comes to being locked in Monday through Thursday. And then they go 0 to 100 on the weekend. We found that with our clients, that with ourselves, it's much better to go the 80-20 rule throughout Monday through Sunday. So all 7 days a week, it's 80% of the time you're eating, you're moving, you're doing things for your health goals. 20% of the time, you're filling those other buckets of health. You're not doing it in a way that just is completely irresponsible. You still have that bigger goal and that bigger why in the back of your mind. But just understanding that there's going to be 80% of the time I have to make my decisions. I have to make eating decisions, physical activity decisions that are going to get me towards the eventual goal that I want. When it comes to the week-long goals with your steps and your calories and your protein and all that stuff, if this is you, it's much better to think of, instead of each day trying to hit your goals, because each day you're going to have maybe a goal of hitting 100 grams of protein or 5,000 steps. And each day, Monday through Thursday, maybe you barely hit it, but you're hitting it and you feel successful. And then the weekend comes and you're super low. You're at 20 grams of protein. You're at 2,000 steps. And yes, you hit your goal 5 days out of the week and not 2 days, but the delta between the two is so large that if you average out the entire week, you're actually lower than you needed to be 7 days a week. So instead of thinking of a daily goal, we found that it's much more beneficial to think of your weekly averages. So if my goal is 5,000 steps a day, maybe it's not 5,000 steps a day. Maybe I make it a goal of 35,000 steps a week. So 5 times 7. If my goal is 100 grams of protein a day, maybe it's 700 grams of protein for my weekly total. That's going to make it so that, yes, if we're high or low some days, it's going to be different. But overall, we're going to be hitting our goal. The weekly average matters more than hitting your daily goal in this situation. You also have to realize that on the weekend, you're going to be doing multiple things that compound towards getting you away from your goal. So I call this the holy trinity of fat gain. When you're eating excess calories, no matter what they are, you are going to be putting yourself into an anabolic building state. So if you're eating more than you're expending, that means that you're going to be slowly gaining weight over time. Now, if you're also compounding that with highly processed, highly palatable foods, along with maybe alcoholic drinks and liquid calories, this is another factor that's added onto it. And it's going to compound the excess calories, and it's going to take us even faster towards away from our goal. And then finally, not just the excess calories, and the excess processed and alcoholic calories, you're going to throw on decreased movement. So now you're moving also less than you normally do. And this is the holy trinity of fat gain. So having an awareness of, if I'm going to be exceeding my calorie limit, if I'm going to be eating way more than I normally am, maybe I also have to increase my movement, and I have to spread it out throughout the day. While I'm at Sunday Funday, excuse yourself from the table, and maybe you go up and down some stairs a few times to get your legs moving. Maybe instead of doing an event where you're just sitting the whole time drinking and watching TV, sports, movies, you put together a hiking event and you go socially, and you can have some fun outside as well. We just had a friend, Jamie, birthday party. Shout out to Annie. Happy birthday, Annie. She had an awesome birthday party out in the park. She brought cornhole, she brought spike ball, and we were out in the park just drinking our White Claws and enjoying time, and we were moving the whole time.
So much fun. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's some ways that we can get away from the holy trinity of fat gain. You have your weekly average goal. The holy trinity of fat gain is avoided. You're planning your social events around maybe some sort of physical activity. And then I know Jamie is a really big proponent of this. You can also plan ahead when it comes to your food tracking. So Jamie, talk a little bit about how you use MyFitnessPal, how you've tracked your food, and then if you do go to an event, you kind of input stuff in before. Is that how you do it?
Yeah. So what I do with a lot of my clients, right, it's what Damien just said. It's all about our averages. We're all human. We're not going to be perfect every day, and that is okay. So some days we're going to go over what our daily caloric intake should be. Some days we're going to go under or be under. So if you do know that you have an event coming up on the weekend, maybe you plan ahead. You go into MyFitnessPal, you enter in the food items that you think you're going to eat. You get an estimate of how many drinks you think you're going to have. Input that into MyFitnessPal, see what that totals up to, and then that just means we need to shift some other things earlier in the week and subtract from what our actual average should be, or what our numbers should be, to compensate for that. And just know too, like alcohol, yes, I mean, we drink as well. I would never tell any of my clients that you cannot. It's not about eliminating things. It's just about doing it a little bit smarter. So before you go to these events as well, you could start your day with a high protein meal. That way you don't go to these special events starving. And that's when we're going to make those bad choices when beverages are involved. And I don't know if there's any big Disney fans out there, but I like to describe alcohol this way. So your alcohol, those are all the people with the fast passes. They're going to get on that ride super fast, while the rest of your food is everyone else sitting in line. So your alcohol will be prioritized. So just know that. So start your day with some protein before those events, plan ahead, and I think you'll be a little bit more successful.
Yeah, and protein is a satiating macronutrient, so it keeps you full longer. So that's a really good hack. You also get a jumpstart on your protein goal. So it's not like you're waiting till the end of the night to be able to get it all in at the last minute. And then you can also, I find that just being upfront with the people that you're with about what your goals are is so super helpful. So if you just literally are straight up, hey friends, I have a goal tonight of staying under 6 drinks. If I get to a point where it's getting out of control, can you help me out, and can you kind of call me out and maybe not peer pressure me into being able to do this? I have this goal that I'm trying to hit. Like, I'm not going to be sober Sally. I'm not going to be that person that is bringing cooked chicken in a Tupperware to our party, but I do have this goal that I want to stick to. And I think that if I could stay true to this, and this, then I think that I would be a little more successful. Could you guys help me out with that? And I'm sure if your friends are friends at all, they would be more than willing. And if they give you a little bit of teasing and pushback, like, just be prepared for that. And just know that, like, it's probably coming from a little bit of an insecurity of themselves. Like, maybe they know that they should be doing it as well. And just kind of be empathetic with that. Just know that it's not really coming from a place of them thinking that you are less. It's probably coming from a place of insecurity in themselves. I think that kind of wraps it up a little bit for that first question. I really like that one. Super common question. If you guys think of anything else that you might do to be able to not derail yourselves on the weekend, let us know. Reach out. We want to hear from you, things that work well for you. Let's move on to the next question.
Question number 2. So this is from one of our group fitness session members. And she asked, I've been taking these group fitness sessions for a year now and really haven't lost much weight. What am I doing wrong? And do you recommend adding in or taking away anything to see results?
Yes. Okay. So we actually know who this member is, and we have seen them work out over the past year at our group fitness gym. And our group fitness gym has many different focuses. We have strength, we have cardio, and we have agility. And this particular member was one of those people who was taught that cardio was the way to really get that weight loss off. So this member was prioritizing a lot of our cardio sessions. So what we kind of told this person was that yes, cardio is great for many, many different reasons. Cardio is great for your cardiovascular health, your heart health. It's great for your mental clarity. It's great to get those feel-good endorphins going. It could be just a really cool way to do a moving meditation. But it is a catabolic activity. It is a activity that breaks down the body. So when you prioritize cardio, whether it be running, jogging, swimming, biking, anything like that, you're telling your body that you don't need to be super strong. You don't need to have muscle on you, because muscle is a very heavy tissue. It's also very inefficient. And when you're looking for long endurance cardio, your body wants to adapt to that training, and it wants to be as efficient as possible, because back in the day, calories were hard to come by. So that's just in our DNA to become more efficient at whatever it is that we're asking our body to do. So this person was overweight, needing to lose weight, doing a bunch of cardio, and maybe at the beginning, the body weight was coming down. If you step on the scale, maybe the weight was coming down. But the problem with this is we've talked about this on the podcast before, with that body weight, body fat may have been coming off, but muscle mass was probably also coming off. Your muscle mass, this is an indicator of how many calories you're going to be burning at rest. If you have more muscle, you burn more calories at rest. You are a more metabolic burning machine. So when you start to lose that muscle, your daily caloric burn slowly decreases. And now to maintain the weight that you're at, you have to be eating less calories in order to just maintain that body weight loss. Most people, they see the weight coming off, they feel good, and then they fall off track or whatever the case may be, and they start eating just a little bit more. The body weight comes right back on, and that body weight comes back on in the form of fat, but the muscle mass continues to stay low. So what does that mean? Now I have this yo-yo effect where I'm losing weight, but I'm losing muscle. I'm now becoming a less ineffective, less efficient calorie burning machine, but now I have more body fat that I need to lose. So it's just a really, really hard battle to get through. It's a really, really hard hole to dig yourself out of, and it's more common than not. There's even a TV show called The Biggest Loser where this is the perfect example, because over 90% of them gain their weight back, and some of them gain even more than they had before. So the answer here is to prioritize strength training and to try to do what is called a reverse diet. It used to be called bulking back in the day, but bulking had such a negative connotation that they spun it and they rebranded it into what's called a reverse diet. Reverse dieting, you're teaching your body to burn more calories by building more muscle mass. And in this phase, you're kind of going the opposite of what you really want to do, right? You see a person, they come into you and they ask you that they want to lose a bunch of weight, and you're telling them that they need to eat more. They may need to keep the weight on the scale the same or even go up a little bit based on their muscle mass gain. That's a hard pill to swallow, and that is a really hard thing to commit to when there's everything under the sun on the internet telling you that you can lose weight in 30 days and you can do this fat burning, detoxing tea cleanse thingy that will help you get to your goals super fast. Like, of course, most people that aren't going to educate themselves on the exact way how to do this, they're going to see that it's going to be very, very appealing to them to be able to take that route rather than put in the extra time. And usually we know that the things that take a little bit longer, the things that require a little harder work, those are the things that are going to be more sustainable than the magic fix, the easy bullet, right? So with this person, we had her start tracking her steps. We had her start tracking her protein. And let's just talk about that. What did you do with this? Is actually one of your clients, Jamie. You had her at a very tough position, and we've gotten her to a really, really cool spot.
Yeah, yeah. So she was actually one of my very first clients. And her progress has been amazing. So we first, just like you just said, we started tracking her steps, her NEAT, her protein intake, tracking her workouts, her water, and we realized that she was getting about 3,000 steps a day. She has a sedentary job. She was working out consistently. That wasn't the issue, but it was mostly cardio focused, and we weren't lifting very heavy, and we were eating about 60 grams of protein. So we decided to put her into a reverse diet. She was not eating enough calories at all. She had this random number, 1,500, in her brain that for some reason she thought this is how many calories she should be eating. So we did a mini reverse diet with her. I didn't really tell her that right off the bat. We just mostly focused on her protein intake. And she did amazing. She hit her numbers every single week. She's currently consuming 140 grams of protein consistently. We've now gotten her NEAT, her steps up to over 10,000 consistently, breaking it up all throughout her workday. We've gotten her water where it should be, which is her body weight cut in half in ounces. And now, actually, very recently, because we got her on the InBody scanner, which we have at our gym, so very lucky to have that as a tool. Her first scan, which was a couple months into our journey, she had a little, I don't want to say freak out, but she was a little nervous and not very happy with the results because she didn't lose a bunch of weight. But I had to point out to her, we actually gained muscle in every single area, and her BMR went up, her basal metabolic rate, which that's the number that's telling you how much your body naturally burns at rest. So, right, because we were focusing on her protein, her muscle mass went up, which on the other side means she can consume more, and her body is naturally burning more at rest. But because of her reaction to that, I wanted to try something new just to make the needle move a little bit more. So I had her focus on zone 2 cardio. So I told her all of her sessions, she has to hit a minimum of 2 strength workouts every single week and really focus on going heavy, challenging the muscle. And she's not skipping the cardio, but staying in zone 2, 75% of her max heart rate or below. So I told her you can either stay in the class and just work through it and go nice and easy and continue to breathe, or you can leave the session early and go on a long walk. And just by her doing that for 2 weeks only, focusing on the zone 2 cardio and really, really diving into the strength again, she lost 3 pounds of fat and gained 2 pounds of muscle.
It's awesome. Yeah. And zone 2 cardio is kind of nerd speak for just the intensity that someone's working out at. And a lot of stuff what you see at group fitness gyms is going to be high intensity, and it's going to be up there in zone 3, 4, and 5. Zone 2, if you don't wear a heart rate monitor, it would be something like you can hold a conversation, but any harder of work would take you into that place where you couldn't really hold a conversation comfortably. So zone 2 would be like a nice brisk walk with a friend at 4 miles per hour, something like that, where you could still hold a conversation. You might be breathing here and there heavy, but you're not taking a breath every other word. Once you get into that place where you're breathing heavy, you can hear yourself breathing, you're trying to have a conversation, but you're having to take a breath every third to fifth word, that would go up into a different zone. And there's no bad zones, right? Like high intensity interval training is so good on so many reasons, but for this person who's already a little bit higher stressed, moving a little bit, not moving enough in the right intensity, this wouldn't be the best type of training for her. We took away some of that high intensity and shifted it towards the zone 2, spread it out throughout the day so that her body was continually moving, and it seemed to have a really good effect on her. So if you've been doing something for a long time and you haven't been getting results, something needs to change. A lot of times it has to do with our preconceived notion of what we think is right. So try to kind of check in with your bias. Like Jamie has her biases, I have my biases. We all have our biases, and a lot of the times it might not exactly be perfect for the situation at hand. So if you think that high intensity interval training is the way to go, but you have been overtrained, you feel sore, you feel tired, you feel burnt out, It might be time to shift towards something a little more restorative. It might be time to increase your steps, low intensity, space it out throughout the day, rather than just thinking that 1 hour of a workout is enough 5 days a week. So a really cool learning lesson there, and it's something that's super common. I love that question. So yeah, let's go on to that next question, the last question.
All right, number 3. What should I be having for breakfast / the first meal of the day?
Yeah, super simple, super sweet. So questions like this make me laugh because I listen to all the experts who talk about this thing, and every single expert says the same exact words to start off their answer. And this is how you know an expert from an expert, because they're going to say, it depends. This situation depends. It depends on what you should be having for breakfast in the first meal of the day. It depends on your goals. It depends on what you're currently doing. It depends on what are the results of what you've been doing recently. All these things go into effect of how and when and what you would want to eat for your first meal of the day. So let's take a situation and kind of like build a avatar, a normal avatar. So let's say that this person probably wants to lose weight. Let's say this person is eating first thing in the morning before they get their kids ready for school, and they eat this breakfast, and it's, let's say, cereal, fruit, and some toast, like the average breakfast that someone eats. This person then goes throughout the day, and maybe they get a little bit hungry at 10:30, so then they get a snack, and then they get a nice lunch. So they go to work and they eat lunch, and they're eating out at whatever place is next to their work. They go to Panera, or they go to Subway, or they go to whatever. And they get home and they're just super, super hungry when they get home. So they snack again while they're getting ready for dinner, and they get everyone's dinner, and they eat dinner, and then they probably eat a late night snack just to finish off the day, and then they do it all again. So breakfast is early in the morning. They get these hunger cravings throughout the day, so they snack throughout, and they're struggling because they want to lose weight, but then they're always hungry. So what we tell this type of person is, if you are on a hunger roller coaster throughout the day, try to minimize your naked carbohydrates early in the morning. And naked carbohydrates are carbs that are without proteins and fats. These are things that are like muffins, pancakes, syrup, cereals, orange juice, anything that juices, that's kind of stuff where it's just straight up broken down in the system as glucose, which is blood sugar. As soon as you start to put that blood sugar into your system, your body is going to release a hormone, insulin. This hormone tells us that we can get some of this damaging blood sugar out of our blood and into either the muscles and the organs where it can be used as energy, or if we're not using energy, where does it go? It gets stored as fat. So if you're doing that first thing in the morning and your body releases insulin, it's going to then go on this roller coaster of going back to baseline and above baseline and then back below. And it's just going to put you on this hunger roller coaster. So the best thing that we say to do is the first thing in the morning is to prioritize your first meal with protein, the magic macronutrient, the one that satiates you, the one that takes more calories to digest, absorb, and burn. If you prioritize protein early, you also get a head start on your protein, and you're fuller longer, so you don't have to have those snacks midday before lunch. A lot of people ask me if they work out early in the morning, what should they eat early in the morning? And my opinion is if your goal is weight loss and you're going to go work out, if you don't need food super early in the morning, if you don't need food to fuel that workout, and the way you would know if you needed food is if you get lightheaded, if you feel just gassed out right in the workout, in the middle of the workout, if maybe you get queasy or something like that. These are all things that require you to fuel your body prior to working out. So yes, you'd want to eat something light, maybe like a nut butter with some fruit, maybe like some Greek yogurt. I love Greek yogurt as a go-to. It's easy. You can pack it. You can eat it fast. It digests and absorbs fast, but nothing too heavy. You wouldn't want super high protein prior to a high intensity HIIT workout. You wouldn't want a lot of fat that your body has to digest, because that's going to cause some intestinal distress. Now, let's say you are able to prolong your eating till maybe 10, 11, 12 in the afternoon. The first thing could be a nice soup, salad, scramble, something that is a little lighter but also has protein, getting your vegetables in there so that you can get the micronutrients, like all that stuff. Breakfast doesn't have to be super early in the morning. Less is more when it comes to weight loss goals. Now, on the flip side, if you're looking for muscle mass gain, you would want to eat protein as soon as you can in the morning, just because throughout the night, your body is slowly breaking down. Your body is using energy, burning fat. You're in this catabolic state all the way through the night because you're not consuming food. So in the morning, you are at this place where you are at the end of this breakdown phase. And if your goal is to build, like muscle mass, if your goal is to sculpt or tone, if your goal is to reverse diet, then yeah, having a nice amount of protein in the morning that can send the signal that can now start this what's called muscle protein synthesis signal, which all that means is just the creation of muscle. If you want to send that signal, you want to send that signal early. So something like a whey protein shake, again, Greek yogurt. You could have something, what else?
Cottage cheese,
stuff like that. And if you can handle dairy, dairy's one of my go-tos. I really like dairy, but that's always a controversial thing, especially because a lot of people can't handle dairy.
Or like a sprouted grain tortilla, sprouted grain piece of toast, or even the Dave's Killer Bread that just has a little bit more protein in it as well is a great thing to shoot for. You can add some nut butter on top, nice and light.
Yeah, I love those ideas. And if you're someone that works out super early in the morning, like let's say 5 a.m., then you're probably going to want to fuel for your workout the night before. So you're going to be looking at your dinner and trying to put in some nice carbohydrates for dinner that you can go ahead and use as fuel later or the next morning. So something like a pasta or high vegetables.
Potatoes, rice.
Yep, love it. What else? What else are we missing on that question? What should I be having for breakfast the first meal of the day?
I think just an important note to make is by you also starting your day with some protein, some healthy fats, that's also going to help you later on in the day with those crazy energy dips. Like if you notice that halfway through the day, you're at work and you just start to crash, that's also that sugar crash. So by starting your day off with some solid protein, you'll probably notice your energy levels stay a little bit more consistent all throughout the day.
Yeah. So with nutrition, it's do what works best for you. And the only way to know what works best for you is trial and error. So you're going to try something, you're going to be aware of the way it makes you feel, and then you're going to adjust. If it's something that you get too full with what you ate, then you're going to adjust something that's going to be a little bit less satiating. If you get sick in the workout where you get queasy or lightheaded or just you don't feel your best in the workout, maybe it's something you need to add in a Greek yogurt 45 minutes before the workout to see how that fits your style and fits how it makes you feel. So do what works for you, trial and error. Make sure that you're aware and you maybe even keep a journal or a log of just what's going on, and so that you can go ahead and reference it when you get back to it. But it depends. It's going to depend on what your goal is. It's going to depend on how you react to the food that you're eating. Everyone's different. So I hope that kind of helps illuminate. I know it's not a direct answer of like an exact food, but we definitely, I think, in my opinion, we want to stay away from the naked carbohydrates. Eating just carbs in the morning is not the best. We're essentially eating dessert for breakfast. Mm-hmm. So there's a lot of ways to be able to eat, and not all carbs are bad, but just in this situation, you would want to shift more towards the protein breakdown when it comes to your first meal of the day. All right, so let's move on to and finish up this episode with a recommendation for everyone to listen to. And we just wanted to shout out one of our favorite podcasts in the world. We want to shout out one of our favorite fitness professionals, and that's Sean Stevenson at the Model Health Show. If you've been following this episode or this podcast for a long time, you know that this is someone that we look up to. This is someone that inspired me to start this podcast, and it is his 10-year anniversary of the Model Health Show. So we just wanted to shout out him, his team. This is a podcast that is just packed full of health information. I feel like I got more out of listening to every single one of his episodes over the past however many years, since 2015, than I got out of my bachelor's degree, which isn't to bash Oregon State. I loved Oregon State, but this podcast is full of amazing information. Shout out to Anne, his wife, who is the woman behind the scenes, who really just makes all the things move. And then the two boys who are always just amazing. If you follow their social media, he's at Sean Model, and they're always dancing around. They're always doing stuff for fitness. It's a great opportunity to see a model of what health and fitness should be when it comes to being in a family. The Model Health Show, we will include the link of his podcast in the description of this episode. And to leave you with a quote here, we want to leave a quote that has to do with dreams. This is the Living the Dream podcast. Sean Stevenson started with a dream with his podcast that grew into something huge. And we have a dream. Jamie and myself, we have a dream of doing something big. So the quote says, "Every great dream begins with a dreamer. Always remember you have within you the strength, the patience, and the passion to reach for the stars and to change the world." Every great dream begins with a dreamer. Always remember that you have within you the strength, the patience, and the passion to reach for the stars to change the world. And that was by Harriet Tubman. So we're going to leave you with that. And again, welcome, Jamie, to the Living the Dream podcast. We are so grateful. We are so blessed to have you to be part of this team in a larger way now. We're really excited to see what the future holds. We got some big stuff coming in the future. So stay tuned, and we'll catch you on the next one.
Bye, guys.
Thank you so much for listening and learning here with us on the Living the Dream podcast. We are so grateful for you being a part of this lifelong learning journey. If you have any topics you'd like to discuss, please let us know in the comments or by messaging me on Instagram at CoachDamian_SD. Be kind to someone today, smile at someone today, and leave every person you come into contact with better than before. Until next time, friends, keep living the dream.